We built a material sorter. It's sorting 3 different materials in marble form. We got a steel marble, a glass marble, and wooden marbles. We had to find a way to test those various materials and then come up with a way to sort them into 3 different bins. Our solution was to shine a light down onto a light sensor, and as that marble crosses over that light sensor, if it shines through the glass marble, it will have a different reading than when it shines through the 2 opaque ones. There's also 2 leads, 2 wire leads that are running over that sensor as well, so when the steel marble comes over, it makes the connection, and we have those leads coming down in, and it's operating as a touch sensor, so when it completes the circuit it gets a different value at that point. And then the wood, it doesn't conduct or let light pass through, so that was our 3rd variable. We have 2 servos hooked up to these 2 gates, which we printed on the prototype machine. Those things will lift, allowing 1 marble in at a time to be analyzed, and then after it analyzes, our bin will roll into the correct position so that the marble will fall into that bin. We have, in order to know where it's at, we've got a integrated encoder built onto this 269 motor, so that's counting, so it can kind of tell where it is in relationship to 0, and we have a limit switch right there, so our program starts with it going over and bumping up against the limit switch, setting the encoder to 0, and then it can make its moves from there. We've got a start button, and then once the program is started and running through it, it also acts as an emergency stop switch that will kill the process right at that point. Alright, hopefully this thing is in theory. It was already in the 0 position, so it didn't move over to it. Those gates are on servos, so they're going to a position. And we learned today how to get those servos to move slower so they're not jerking around. So that's why they're kind of moving a little bit smoother than a normal servo would look. Is that all of them? Yeah, that's it.
Okay, we were tasked with the same thing, to sort between wood, metal, and glass, or little glass marbles. What we decided to do is, normally a hopper was supposed to be created in order to automatically put out the marbles. Instead, we just kind of, that went by the wayside, and we decided to work on everything else that's down here. But the process we took was to construct this and then to lift the gate, so it's kind of more of a manual type process. So right now, the way it's set up is that there is a switch to start and then a hold to stop. Is it running right now?
No. Yeah, we can start whenever.
Okay, whenever you're ready, you can start it. So what's going to happen here is when we put the marbles down, the servo, we have 3 separate servos here on the top. Each one of them is holding a different one in place so that it can register and then drop and come out. Down here is where we have the 2 leads that register conductivity, and then our light, which goes through the light sensor, tells us if the actual light will pass through and whether or not it's glass, wood, or steel. So I'm going to try and release some of these here and see what happens.
We were fixing the...
Yeah, we were working on the conductivity.
It wasn't reading conductivity, so we had to mess with the size a little bit.
So that's steel, it registers steel. The front one's wood, and the far left that it's registered to at the moment is a glass one. Let's see if I can get a glass in there. Steel again. Also, I should mention that the piece on the bottom that we have was also laser cut. Was built in Inventor and then was laser cut and fitted to some cups from the hotel for the most part. And then the restart position goes back to 0.